Okay, this week we begin a new book. We've been the book of Devarim, and the name of the first parsha is Devarim. The book of Devarim is the end of Moshe's life. Moshe was told already that he's not going to be entering the land of Israel, and the Jewish people are on the cusp. We've just conquered the lands of Sichon and Og, the east side of the Jordan River, which were going to be settled by the tribes of Reuven and Gad and part of Manasseh. And Moshe knows he's going to be dying, and it's actually taking place 37 days before Moshe it begins, 37 days before Moshe is going to pass on. And the Torah describes how Moshe gets up, and actually most of the book, Moshe is speaking to the people, but he begins in a way which is classified as rebuke. He's going to be telling the people things that they did wrong over the past 40 years when they came out of Egypt, and goes through various important stories and some minor things, but going to be telling about the golden calf and the story of the spies and the different places where they complained, etc., etc. And his goal is to say, guys, you're going into Israel, don't make the same mistake, right? And he's trying to also fortify them for the new experience they're going to have when they go into the land of Israel. And the he goes actually at length into this in this parsha, uh, repeating the story of the spies. In the beginning of his discussion of the story of the spies, he tells them, and we learned this a couple of years ago in our Yarchei Kala class when we did spy versus spies, that if you read the two stories, you'll see it's not word for word exactly the same. In fact, there's information in Parsha Shalach that is not here in Devarim, and there's information here that is not over there when the story happened. And we are able to piece together the two parshios together to get the full story. And one of the things it says over here, which we didn't realize, is it begins by saying, "Vatikruvune elai kulchem." All of you came to me. If you read the book of Shalach, and the first time the story is told, you think, oh, that Hashem, there was a Hashem said to Moshe, Shlach l'chan Hashem, and it wasn't clear that this whole thing started because the people complained. And here it tells us that they all came to you. They all came to me, and they said, let's send out people in front of us to check out the land, etc., etc. Rashi comments that this statement, when Moshe says to them, "You all came to me," is a statement of rebuke, because after all, the whole section is dealing with rebuke, and therefore Moshe must be saying there's something you did wrong in your approach. And Rashi explains that what happened was the people came, says Ba'ar Buvia, in a jumble, in a confusion. It was a mass. It was a crowd. They came as a crowd. They didn't come as an organized group. And he specifies, and he's quoting a midrash, that the people came where the younger people were pushing the older people were pushing the leaders, and normally the way it should be done is that people should be sending their representatives in an organized fashion. And, if you want to see what's happening, you wait quietly in the back. But here, everybody was pushing and shoving, and no one was giving respect to each other, and of course to Moshe either. And so therefore, that in itself was a rebuke. The Hamek Dover, Rabbi Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, who was in the Volozhin Yeshiva, he quotes his father-in-law, Rabbi Yitzchak of Volozhin, and he says, "But this story here, I mean, if you were telling about the spies, it was a big sin. All the people didn't want to go into Israel. Hashem promised them that they were going into the land, and here they complained about it. They said, we don't believe it. We don't trust in Hashem that He's going to be able to bring us into the land." And in the beginning of the story, we have a little thing that, when they came a little bit with a bunch of people in a jumble, and they were pushing and shoving a bit. That's the thing you're going to highlight. What's so big deal? After all, and that's not it. It's not you want to give Musa, you want to rebuke people. Tell them, you guys didn't believe in God, that you didn't trust in God. That's the most important thing. What's so big deal about this? And therefore he answers that you might have said that, oh, you know what? These people, what do you expect from them here? They were really ready to go into Israel. And after all this, they sent the spies. The spies came back. 10 of them, 10 out of 12, gave a bad report. And why would you expect that they should distrust those 10? I mean, it's 10 against 2. And it's not their fault. They didn't do something. It wasn't so bad. That's basically what you might say. And therefore, he says what's happening over here shows you that it's not really true. From the very beginning, there was already a problem, because when you have you have something you want to accomplish, how you approach it is really a sign of what you're thinking and your attitude towards the whole thing. And here, they were approaching it with a lack of Derech Eretz. They were approaching it with a lack of respect. That showed that their whole intention was really wrong. Their whole attitude was really wrong. And therefore, what it's telling us is, even at the beginning, it wasn't that later on they got convinced and therefore it's not so much their fault. Yeah, they already had a bad attitude in the beginning. They weren't such big believers in the beginning. And therefore, that's why in the end they were more susceptible to listening to what the spies had to say, because they were open to it. It wasn't coming, oh my gosh, these people are telling us something and convincing us. They didn't need to be convinced so strongly. And he says that the idea of how we conduct ourselves in a situation that, especially in the beginning of a program or the beginning of a project, the beginning of something you want to accomplish, shows really what your attitude is toward it, and shows the value you place and what you're really thinking. And the concept, though, is that Derech Eretz, having how you treat others, how you act with respect or disrespect, is a core. It's not just an outside factor. It's really at the base of how do you think. And as we're now in the 9 days, we're approaching Tisha B'Av, and Tisha B'Av, of course, we know there was the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash because of sinas chinam, of the unwarranted hatred. But unwarranted hatred really is also it's a lack of respect. It's that I don't think you have value. I can hate you. You have no value. If you really had value, I wouldn't be able to have a lack of positive feeling toward you. I would care about you. But because you have no value, I can hate you. When I treat others with disrespect, it's a sign that I don't really value them. And therefore, the message that we want to take away is that it does make a difference. The way we treat others is not just a matter of how we should be treating others, but it's really reflective of how we think, and it's reflective of the attitude that we have towards others in general and towards the things that we're doing. Because if we feel what we're doing is important and correct, then actually we will also treat all the other people involved, or the people that we're discussing it with respect as well. When we're doing something which is kind of wrong and is not the right thing, then we are going to be actually less respectful to the people who are involved with us, or the people who we are dealing with in that situation as well. And so therefore, the message for us is to pay a little more attention to how we are treating everyone else, to increase our level of caring and respect. And hopefully, if we are all able to do so, then that would bring back instead of having the sinas chinam, create a little avas chinam, create the idea of we care about each other. I don't have to have a reason why I care about you. And in that manner, to bring the bringing of Mashiach,